Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Holman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we sit down with Kansas Secretary of Ag, Jackie McClaskey, to talk about water issues. Inside Kansas Ag has information from Kansas Soybean on the soybean checkoff referendum, and Farm Bureau updates us on the Ditch the Rule campaign. In the news you need to know, we have our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. Paragon reports on the USDA's recent crop report, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently put a ban on most U.S. agricultural products in retaliations for sanctions imposed on Russia. The decree bans imports of U.S. beef, pork, poultry, seafood, fruits and vegetables, and dairy for 1 year. The Russian ban also applies to all European Union countries, as well as Canada, Australia, and Norway, all countries that have imposed sanctions on Russia over the Ukrainian crisis. The ag community says the impact is not expected to be very big, as Russia's imports were on the decline prior to the ban. Missourians voted in favor of a constitutional amendment last week that guarantees the right to engage in farming and ranching practices. Amendment 1 will help protect Missouri agriculture, which generates more than $12 billion annually and thousands of jobs in the state. Animal rights organizations led by the Humane Society of the United States actively oppose the amendment. And in local news, Kansas State University released its first wheat variety, Can Red, 100 years ago. Now, a century later, K-State, in conjunction with the Kansas Wheat Alliance, is unveiling its latest variety, Can Mark. The newest variety's most desirable trait is reliability under moderate drought conditions, providing remarkably consistent yields with less than favorable water inputs. It's targeted primarily towards growers in the western region of the state. Kansas farm real estate value for 2014 averaged $2,050 per acre. This is up $300 an acre, or 17% higher than last year. Cropland value increased 17% from 2013 to $2,260 per acre. Irrigated cropland value averaged $3,280 an acre, up $520 from a year ago. Pasture land at $1,300 per acre increased by $150 from 2013 reports. Kansas Farm Service Agency has financing options up to $300,000 available for Kansas farmers and ranchers who want to purchase farm real estate through a direct farm ownership loan. For financing options and eligibility information, contact your local FSA county office or go online to fsa.usda.gov. Kansas Wheat is proud to announce the winners of the 5th annual Wheat Yield Contest. This year's top wheat yield belongs to Butch Harris and Levi Feldbush of the Eastern region. Chuck Downey is this year's winner from the Western region. Doug Keys takes the top spot in the Central region. For a complete listing of all contest winners, go to kswheat.com. Up next in our Ag Feature, we sit down with Kansas Secretary of Ag, Jackie McClaskey, to talk about water issues. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Ken Rogers from AgView. This fall, we'll be profiling candidates for elected office here in Kansas. Stay connected with agview.net and kansasAGreport.com.
You can find us on the web at kansasagreport.com and make sure to like us on Facebook.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, and you have never seen a selection of America's best lineup like this before. We've got year-end sales pricing right now on Ford, Lincoln, and Mazda. You won't want to miss 0% interest on select models, top dollar for your trade, and if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll get it. The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
At Ag Risk Solutions, we have been helping our clients make better crop insurance decisions since 1981. We always focus on helping you find the best coverage options for your farm, and it will give you peace of mind knowing you have a partner you can trust. To learn more about our agency, please visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution.
Ag Risk Solutions is an equal opportunity provider.
Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City is celebrating the grand opening of their new dealership at I-70 and Highway 77, and we are giving away a new 2014 F-150 Lariat Crew Cab 4-wheel drive truck. All you need to do is come check out the new Dick Edwards Auto Plaza and register for the F-150 or one of the many other prizes to be given away between now and August 16th. Don't miss out on your chance to win this 2014 F-150 Lariat now. Only at Dick Edwards Auto Plaza, located at I-70 and Highway 77 in Junction City.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Well, we are pleased to be joined by Jackie McClaskey, who is the Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Kansas, and we want to spend a few moments talking about kind of the state of agriculture in Kansas. Madam Secretary, thanks for joining us, and we're talking to you in the new home of the Kansas Department of Agriculture in Manhattan.
We finally got the move completed. We moved last month, so we've been here for literally about 4 weeks. And we're still waiting, as you saw when you came in the door, for some furniture to arrive and a few boxes now and then to get unpacked. But the most important thing is we got our employees here and feel like we're kind of back to business as usual, which is really exciting.
Probably in our time this time around, we're going to spend an awful lot of it talking about the Water Vision team. You say you've only been in this office a few weeks, and some of that time has been spent listening to Kansans. Maybe give us a couple of highlights.
Sure, absolutely. You're right. I think, out of the 28 days-ish that we have been in this building, I have maybe spent 4 or 5 here, and most of that time has been out talking to folks across the state about the Water Vision. Just a week and a half ago, we completed a 12-stop, 5-day tour, and during that trip talked to over 800 Kansans and have had the opportunity by phone and email to be talking a lot more since that tour completed. Mostly what we're hearing from people is as we look at what our water needs are across the state, whether those are issues on the western side of the state or the eastern side of the state or somewhere in between, that we really need to take a regional approach. And we've heard all along, we've known all along that there wasn't a one-size-fits-all solution for Kansas water issues. But at the same time, even from the perspective of setting goals and how we approach it, that message was really clear that we look at things regionally. We also heard a lot, from folks as we anticipated that we want to try voluntary approaches, but we also heard that the state really needs to step up and help find ways to make those voluntary approaches work. I think it really is something of interest of as well that people on the eastern side of the state want to talk about the Ogallala. People on the Ogallala want to talk about the reservoirs. And of course, there are a number of other areas in the state but may not be served by any of those, such as the Equus regions and others, where their issues are really unique.
Was there one thing that maybe stuck out, or any sort of a general theme at all the stops?
That water is important, that conservation is important, that we can't underestimate the importance of water for the state's economic needs. And the exciting thing for me is that people get that, apparently and seemingly from corner to corner of the state. But at the same time, that if we don't take action now, then we are not going to be where we need to be in the future.
We're talking with Jackie McClaskey, the Kansas Secretary of Agriculture. We'll have more in just a moment. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're talking with Jackie McClaskey, who is the Kansas Secretary of Agriculture, talking about the Water Vision team and this whole situation. Now we've given the general overview. Let's talk specifics. How many parts are there to this Water Vision?
Well, we've talked a lot about what a vision means, and it does start with a general vision statement to kind of give us an idea of where we want to accomplish that talks about Kansans being committed to long-term water needs in our state, followed by a more mission statement that gets into how we as a state can start to enact that vision. And then it gets into the good stuff. That's where we have 4 different themes of water conservation, water management, new sources of supply, and crops and technology. And within each of those are specific action items and strategies. And there are over 170 action items within the whole document. So as we went out and traveled the state, and as folks have had the opportunity to actually read the vision document, there's a lot of opportunities to provide input, to tell us what should be included, what shouldn't be included, what we missed, what's more important, what pieces should be prioritized. So that's really contains a lot of information.
And you know, the process is kind of that living document. You still are seeking input from all Kansans and all stakeholders, not necessarily agriculture, but everybody's affected by water.
Absolutely. Every citizen in the state of Kansas is affected by water. Again, why our vision statement starts with the word Kansans. The document is a living document. This was actually what we called a preliminary discussion draft. It was intended to include all the different feedback that we've heard throughout the last 6 or 7 months when we've been talking to folks about across the state, and then actually give them something on paper to react to. So we took copies to all the tours that we did, and we also have it online. It's actually hosted on the Kansas Water Office website at www.kwo.org. So folks can get on there, pull it down, read it, provide input, or if they would like us to come out and talk to a group they're a part of, to give us more input, that's certainly something that we're interested in.
And then once all these comments are gathered, kind of a final draft or a final report will be released later this year, correct?
That's the plan. Certainly, we've already been getting a lot of feedback and input, and it's going to take us some time to get through this, but we're anticipating that the next draft is going to be introduced at the Governor's Water Conference, which will actually be held here in Manhattan on November 12th and 13th. And probably at that stage, it's still going to be something that we're looking for input on. And we'll see then maybe a more final draft even before we enter into the legislative session.
We're talking kind of that state of Kansas agriculture right now. Wheat harvest wrapped up. Some areas had good wheat, some not so much, but the fall crops look good. What are you hearing from producers?
Well, you know, I just actually had a conversation with the governor a few days ago asking about the average wheat crop in Kansas, and it was actually a little higher than some people were expecting. At least the preliminary numbers we've heard is maybe 32 bushels. But then I've also talked to folks who still have their wheat in the field. So I don't even know that we can call wheat harvest done just because of some of the moisture we've had in some parts of the state. But the moisture that maybe kept some of that wheat in the field is also what's going to lead to a much better fall crop, and hopefully we're going to see more areas of the state moving out of the drought for a sustained amount of time. I think people like to say it rained, so the drought's over. We know that that's not quite the case. We really want to see that moisture return to what we in Kansas depend on.
Madam Secretary, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jackie McClaskey, who is Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Kansas, has joined us. Reporting for AgView, I'm Ken Rogers. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
Recently, in a well-publicized blog posting, Acting Administrator for Water at EPA, Nancy Stoner, questioned the validity of agriculture's concern regarding a proposed Waters of the United States rule. Additionally, EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy recently appeared before the Kansas City Agricultural Business Council to try to relieve concerns about the WOTUS rule. Now, the EPA has also launched a social media campaign to attempt to silence concern over the WOTUS rule. None of these efforts are proving successful. Farm Bureau, both at the state and national level, has deciphered this rule line by line, word by word. Contrary to public comments by EPA officials, it extends federal jurisdiction beyond that authorized by the Clean Water Act and the recent Supreme Court case rulings. More and more groups in and out of agriculture are joining the fight to ditch this rule. It is the best answer by far to what is an enormous government overreach and regulations that could damage not just the agricultural industry, but municipalities, county governments, the construction industry, and many others. For much more information on this proposed rule and what it means for your operation, please visit kfb.org/ditchtherule.
If you'd like to advertise your business on Kansas Ag Report, give us a call at 785-554-5974.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced the results of the request for referendum on the Soybean Research and Promotion Program, also known as the Soybean Checkoff. USDA received 324 valid requests for referendum forms at its Farm Service Agency offices in May. Those represented less than 0.1% of all eligible U.S. soybean farmers, well short of the 10% needed to prompt a referendum. The results show U.S. soybean farmers overwhelmingly recognize the value of their checkoff. It is a great vote of confidence as the United Soybean Boards and Kansas Soybean Commission's volunteer farmer leaders continue to invest soybean checkoff funds to maximize the profit potential for soybean farmers. If 10% of the nearly 570,000 U.S. soybean farmers had requested a referendum, with no more than 1/5 coming from one state, USDA would have conducted the referendum on the soybean checkoff within 12 months. The request for referendum vote happens every 5 years, as required by the Soybean Promotion, Research, and Consumer Information Act. Farmers certifying they paid the checkoff in 2012 or 2013 were eligible to petition for the referendum. Eligible farmers who did not want a referendum did not need to take any action. You can learn more about what the Soybean Checkoff does in Kansas by visiting kansassoybeans.org on the web.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City is celebrating the grand opening of their new dealership at I-70 and Highway 77, and we are giving away a new 2014 F-150 Lariat Crew Cab 4-wheel drive truck. All you need to do is come check out the new Dick Edwards Auto Plaza and register for the F-150 or one of the many other prizes to be given away between now and August 16th. Don't miss out on your chance to win this 2014 F-150 Lariat now. Only at Dick Edwards Auto Plaza, located at I-70 and Highway 77 in Junction City.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, and you have never seen a selection of America's best lineup like this before. We've got year-end sales pricing right now on Ford, Lincoln, and Mazda. You won't want to miss 0% interest on select models, top dollar for your trade, and if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll get it. The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Since 1983, the Hydrobed has been utilized on cattle operations throughout North America. The Hydrobed equips your 3-quarter or 1-ton truck for hay handling and feeding. Variable speed cable controls or the optional wireless remote enable you to haul, transport, and unroll 2 round bales weighing up to 3,000 pounds each. A mechanical free float automatically compensates for uneven ground and out of round bales, isolating you and the truck from impact of bale unrolling. To find out how the Hydrobed can improve your feeding efficiency, call or visit us on the web at triple-c-inc.com.
Kansas Livestock Association members were in Denver earlier this month to provide input on policy priorities for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. They were among ranchers and feeders from across the country who gathered to discuss the biggest issues facing the cattle industry. Priority issues identified include EPA's proposed Waters of the U.S. rule, tax reform, and ongoing international trade issues to further open markets for U.S. beef. The Cattle Marketing Committee passed a resolution for NCBA to support changes to the government's mandatory price reporting program. The directive calls for changes to ensure the data reflects the marketplace. NCBA's Cattle Health and Well-Being Committee approved policy on foreign animal diseases. The resolution opposes imports of live cattle, beef, and beef products into the U.S. from countries with histories of significant chronic animal diseases. This policy was driven by comments submitted earlier this year by KLA and NCBA opposing a proposed USDA rule that would allow fresh beef imports from certain regions of Brazil. The South American country has not shown the ability to control animal movement and implement mitigation steps essential to preventing Brazilian beef imports from introducing foot and mouth disease into the U.S. All of the policies forwarded by producer committees were passed by the full NCBA Board of Directors.
Hi, I'm Brian Holder with Paragon Ag. The August 12th supply and demand reported yields on corn were increased from 165.3 bushel to the acre to a now 167.4. This was below trade estimates and a friendly number. Yields are determined by the number of plants per acre, the number of ears on the plant, the number of kernels on the ears, as well as the weight and size of those kernels. This survey, as well as the one in September coming up, can only be a partial look at the crop due to the lack of mature plants. The best surveys came from the far south. Corn production so far this year was due to a widely successful pollination time frame, and that will not be reflected until the September or October reports. While it's likely this crop will continue to get bigger, the USDA data was enough to put a stop to the bleeding on corn prices for now. The new crop soybeans, USDA did confirm a big stocks are at hand. Yields were raised modestly from 45.2 to 45.4. Ending stocks were raised from 415 to 430 million bushels, and they did not change the demand. The market will continue to trade weather on the beans and watch for any signs of Chinese demand. Wheat numbers came in again with a bearish slant. Production was raised by 38 million bushel as world carryout came in at 192.96 million metric ton. All of these numbers should be viewed as long-term bearish, so we do recommend taking advantage of rebounds this month. For questions or comments, give Paragon a call at 888-452-8751.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.